Is it still possible to build a stealth ship? Now, by stealth ship, I mean a ship that remains undetected to the enemy's turrets. We've done this in the past before by surrounding a grid with armoured blocks with no components on at all except raw armour, connecting it to the landing gear and hiding a ship inside. First off, I want to see if that's still possible, and then I want to push it to its limits to see what sort of weapon or machine we can make and how much damage we can inflict on an enemy vessel. So let's give it a go. So let's jump straight into a baseline test. Now in front of us we have a solid armoured wall. Behind it we have a hostile ship with landing gears attaching to it. The whole wall has no components, it's just solid armour. So coming down this end we have a Gatling gun turret, and that is hostile to that blue ship that we just looked at. Now if we jump into the menu here, you can see that it's detecting a hostile ship. So let's add ourselves some ammunition to it and see if it shoots straight through that grid. We're going to shuffle him along, see if that Gatling gun turret starts shooting at any time. No. Oh, hold on, it's shooting now. Why has it decided to shoot now all of a sudden? So my stealth armor doesn't seem to be working. Let's back off a little bit. Let's back off. Okay, so it's giving us a little bit of range. So the Gatling gun turret must be set up to 600. Let's just double check that. Yeah, so at 600 it starts engaging us and pulling back. Interesting. So for the moment it looks like our invisibility cloak is not going to work. It's still going to shoot through that grid in front of it. So let's layer that up. Let's thicken it and see if it's a thickness thing. If a bit of thickness to this. So that's 3 layers. Hopefully we've got enough thrust to hold that up. And let's bring it back forward, back to that 600 meter range. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so it's starting shooting. So it does not care about that armor in front of it anymore. So it looks like the stealth ship idea might be a lot harder than we originally thought. How are we gonna beat this now? How are we going to build ourselves a stealth ship? I'm guessing we're going to have to play with components. Maybe captured enemy components could help us build a stealth ship. We'll have a play around. I'll get back to you. So now we've made one change to the block. We've added this that has some components in. So this block has gone from being neutral to being friendly. So let's see if that affects it. So if we have a friendly grid in front of us, and we get in that 600 meters range, will that friendly grid protect us? Or will... No! It will not. So even if that grid's friendly, yeah, the Gatling gun turret will still try to break into the inside of that. Very, very interesting. Okay, so some of you guys also asked what would happen if it was a fully sealed box, and the question is, once again, it doesn't work because it's not even attached this time, but at the same time, it just doesn't seem to be targeting it. Hold on, it's penetrated through and it stopped shooting. Oh no, it's trying to get through again. So yeah, this stealth design that we used back in 2018 just simply doesn't work. So we're going to have to reinvent it. We're going to have to think of another way of getting stealthy. So we also wanted to test to see if the large, heavy armor blocks could offer us any sort of stealth possibilities. So we've got the turret loaded up there. We're heading towards it. Remember, the range of the turret is set to 600 at the minute. So does it start shooting as soon as we get within that 600 meter range? Yes, it does. Oh, that's so frustrating. I was really hoping that would work. Oh no, I've crashed. The weight of the heavy armor has caused me to go into a death roll. But yeah, as you can see, that large heavy armor block didn't help us in any way to remain stealthy. So when we lock this grid with landing gears, it becomes a hostile grid, or the turret can see us through that grid. But if we unlock it, it blocks line of sight of the grid behind it, and it becomes neutral, the grid in front of it. And that's kind of what we want to achieve this stealth effect. But we need to move this along somehow, so that's going to be the next challenge. So with that information, we'd think that we would be able to sneak up behind this block. As long as we stay out line of sight of that turret, we should be able to get in there. But as you'll see, that is not going to be the case, because yes, we're within 600 meters now, but the Gatling gun turret is still just going to attempt to shred through that block in front of us to get at us. So even using that neutral grid in front of us is not going to save us. It's not going to make us any more stealthy. Same test, but just with the large block variant to see if it offers us any sneak ability. No. So it can still see us behind that grid and it's still trying to cut its way through. Back to the drawing board, it seems. Now, I even tried to get super technical with this. So what we've got here is connectors, and they are not locked, they're just set to merge. You can see there's actually a friendly grid now set in front of us. So the turret will shoot through a neutral and a friendly to shoot at an enemy grid behind you. So that's something you're going to have to consider. So there is one way of building a stealth ship in Space Engineers currently. And I've seen this a few times happen on the server, but I've had to have a word with a few of the people that are doing it. And it's simply capturing an enemy grid. So you capture an enemy grid, you don't convert any of the components over to you, you simply convert the cockpit. By converting just the cockpit, the overwhelming amount of parts belong to the enemy, and as you can see, we can whiz right up to the turret. So the only block that is hostile is the cockpit that I placed on. The rest of the blocks belong to that faction. And this allows you to conduct a recon operation. You could do some other sort of cheesy things, but I just think it's kind of nasty on the moral compass side of things, because you are abusing the game's mechanics to win within a battle sort of situation. So you can see we can come right up to the turret, and it's not got an issue with us at all, because the only block that belongs in this case to the space pirates is the industrial cockpit. Now if we start to add more than half, so we'll assign a few more to space pirates, so you can see we're not over half the blocks yet, but as soon as we get over half the blocks, so let's have a look how many blocks we've got here and just grab a big section of it. Okay, and then let's assign that to space pirates. Now you can see it starts targeting, because more than half the blocks are belonging to the space pirates. So something maybe that could be used in an interesting scenario. Maybe if you're fighting against the AI, you could always capture one of their ships, use it to infiltrate in, do your job, set your explosives and get out. But fighting this against players in a multiplayer is a bit of a cheesy tactic. So my testing with building a stealth ship will continue, and I think it's important to also explore some other avenues of stealth, or camouflage you could say. If you can't be invisible to turrets, maybe you could be invisible to the naked eye. So here we've got the two camouflage patterns available to us. This is discounting the cow camouflage pattern. That is over here. That works partially, but I'll show you at what sort of range camouflage is actually coming into the picture in Space Engineers. So this is the sort of range where camouflage is actually effective within Space Engineers. So you can see it is quite far away. If we start maneuvering ourselves around, you can see that them two left tiles are totally blended into the ground. They're the two camouflage patterns, where the majority of the other ones are standing out. The other ones that are doing pretty well, though, if you are going to use another camouflage planet for a grass-like pattern, is the woodwork. The sci-fi patterns, they don't really blend you in too much. They can help you out in space, though. And we'll have a look at some space patterns when we go up there in a second. So when it comes to the camouflage in space, it seems to be two things. The darker colours seem to do better at ranges. We're looking at dark blacks, greys, dark browns, dark purples. So as we start to move away from these blocks, you can see that some of the lighter greys towards the left are quite good at blending in. Also some of the dark ones can stand out a little bit too much. So you're looking for that darky grey sort of tone. And the ones that really pull it off quite well is the standard armor type seems to blend in quite well. We've obviously got the digital one here that's a little bit too dark, but could be tweaked with a bit of colour. The same with the cow pattern, but the straight sort of riveted panel one, well, it's not a riveted panel, what's that one called? The corrugated panel seems to do pretty well, and weirdly enough, the wood texture once again seems to blend into skyboxes really quite nicely. Of course, you're going to have to adapt this to the skybox that's out there or that you're using, and you'll have to work out which direction the enemy are looking at you. Are they looking at you from the shadowed side, or are they looking at you from the bright side? And maybe coordinate your attack from that. So that's what we've managed to come up with today. Talk a little bit about camouflage, sadly reveal that our stealth ship technology no longer works, but let me know in the comment section below in this video of if you've got some stealthy ship technology or more information on how you can possibly beat the turrets, or is there a good way of camouflaging your build to avoid detection? Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.